And we're back with our video sit-downs. Diedrich Allen off camera. On camera, Ron Gold. He is the incumbent for Mason County PUD number 1. Commissioner District is it 2, right? It is 2, correct. And running unopposed, nonpartisan position. And Ron just asked you in here to take a couple of minutes to briefly tell everybody about yourself, your background, why you feel why you're running again, and why you feel you're the best candidate.
Okay, sure. My background, I'm originally from Chicago, but I've lived out here in Washington State now for 44 years. I was stationed here in the military when I was 19. I went overseas, came back to McCord. After I got out of the service, I ended up going to Evergreen State College. I did an internship with the U.S. Forest Service on the Hood Sport Ranger District, worked there for about 12 years. I was on the district fire engine the first year and then became foreman. Later on, moved over to silviculture and was in charge of reforestation until I resigned from the Forest Service and started my own business. I had RG Forestry Consultants in Mason County for a little bit about 30 years. As of 12/30/2013, I retired. And now I'm focusing more of my attention to the PUD and the issues that are confronted our citizens right now.
So what can you do to ensure electricity rates remain affordable?
What we try to do is that there's been a constant attack on preference power. When I say preference power, Mason 1 is a full subscriber to the Bonneville Power Administration, which is part of the Columbia Hydro System. So we, by being a subscriber, what are called preference customer, where we receive low rates from the Bonneville Power Administration, except what's happening is that the cost of power has just escalated with all the new issues, and some of it is necessary for some of our past, I would say, our past experiences. Right now, out of every dollar spent for electricity, between 25 and 33 cents of that dollar is now spent for habitat, for fish and other issues. So we also have an obligation to be a good steward. So the money is well spent. It's just that we have to also be very conscious of where that money is going and how it's being spent.
What is the PUD doing to limit power outages, and how can that be improved?
Right now, since Mason 1 is the first acting public utility in the state of Washington, we started in 1935, and we're the oldest operating utility in the state of Washington. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to upgrade our infrastructure. We just completed last year our first new substation that was built in many, many years. We replaced the substation in the Skokomish Valley because of flooding issues and also reliability issues. So now we have a brand new substation behind Potlatch State Park that was built to help keep the reliability of electricity on, and also support the Skokomish tribe. They have a business plan where they're going to be having a new housing facility behind Potlatch State Park. They have their casino, and they have done a tremendous amount of work for their community and for their people. So what we're trying to do through our improvements is keep the reliability by building this new substation, and later on we hope to build 3 to 4 new substations, is to be able to loop power from different directions. So if we lose power from one way, we can bring it in from another direction. So our objectives right now is to improve our agent system, improve our reliability, and try to keep the cost down as low as we can. So unfortunately, substations run $3 to $4 million a piece, so we have to do one at a time as we can afford to do it. So we are taking small steps, not to try to increase our electrical bill, and at the same time try to keep our reliability up for our customers.
Well, you mentioned the aging electrical infrastructure. What about that? What are you doing about that?
Well, like I said, we first got done replacing our first new substation. That was a huge step. We also, about 3 years ago, we upgraded our tidal crossing across the end of the Hood Canal. That was about a $2 million project. We went to automatic meter reading. We are replacing a lot of our aging poles, our aging transformers. We have a 5-year action plan where we review it every year and what are our highest needs. So we try to prioritize what needs to be fixed first, and at the same time realizing we don't want to have a large impact to our ratepayers. So we have to take small steps. There's a lot to do, but we're at the same time we're trying to do it in a manner that's not going to increase our cost of electricity to our consumers.
Is the PUD spending too much money on its facilities and infrastructure?
We have an aging facility, but right now we're focusing on replacing our aging infrastructure. We would like to have a new facility, but to be honest, I can't see anything happen before 10 years. Right now we're doing the basic maintenance on our buildings. Our main office, we've had a lot of issues. Roof's been leaking, bugs. It needs to really be replaced. We need to come up with a handicap of accessibility. We're trying as hard as we can, but at the same time, we have limited funds, and we do not want to go out and borrow a lot of money and have a lot of debt for our customers. So again, we try to do it at smaller increments so that we try to address the things that need to be fixed first and then go from there. And so we review our work plan every year and see what things need to be next on the agenda. So we really try hard to try to address our aging system, but at the same time not incur a lot more higher rates for our ratepayers.
I didn't ask you this beforehand because I like to prepare people, but what about the water systems that you manage?
We basically have a little bit over 30 water systems, and that is it's a real challenge, because what's happened in the state of Washington, there used to be a couple different funds that the utilities used to be able to go to and get low-cost money or grants. Public Works Trust Fund, the State Revolving Fund, and those things are drying up. They're not there anymore. So our challenges are to find money or free money that is not going to cost our ratepayers a huge amount of money. And that's the challenge, because when we get these water systems, the reason you get these water systems is that over the years regulations have changed and the requirements for these water systems have changed, and most of these small systems cannot come up with the funding and the expertise to upgrade their systems. So it's a challenge to try to be able to find money for these systems and at the same time try to keep the costs low. But it's unfortunate that what's happening is a lot of these smaller water systems, when they were developed, they weren't really developed with all the current standards that are involved now. When I say current standards, a lot of times these water systems might have a 2 or 3 inch line. Well, today they're requiring 6 and 8 inch mains. The other issue we have is fire flow, which wasn't really addressed at the time a lot of these water systems were built. And unfortunately, if you put fire flow into the formula, all of a sudden it gets so costly to be able to provide service, because to build a new water storage tank, they're talking fire flow, 1,000 gallons of water per minute for 60 minutes, which means you have to build a minimum of 60,000 gallon water or reservoir, which is huge. That's couple $100,000 or more. Same with the piping, ductile piping. A piece of 20-foot long 6-inch ductile pipe could be as much as $800 for a 20-foot stick. So when you got to do a mile worth of replacement, you start adding this cost, and then you add the cost of new reservoirs, the requirements now to meter all the systems so that you're making sure that you recover the cost for providing that water service. So there's a lot of challenges that we have right now in water systems, and unfortunately the free money is not there anymore. And so if you have a water system with 20 or 30 customers and all of a sudden you need $500,000 worth of improvements, that doesn't pencil out very well to have very affordable water rates. So we're caught between a rock and a hard place, because we have 2 major agencies that dictate us how we run our water systems. We have the Department of Ecology and the Department of Health, and they sometimes don't always agree on what they want. So we're unfortunately right in the middle of trying to provide a service with changing conditions. And well, sometimes we'll get a decision out of the Department of Ecology. We'll tell our client that we can now provide them service, and before we can even provide the service, the Department of Ecology comes back and negates on what they just told us we can do. So the consistency of policy making is not there sometimes. And so that makes it awful hard for a small utility to provide service when they keep on changing their rules on you. And that makes it very difficult.
All right, Ron, that's all that I had for you. Thank you for taking some time and talking to us. Ron Gold, incumbent, running unopposed for Mason County PUD number 1, Commissioner District number 2. Thanks for taking some time.
Thank you.